Ooh. I got in a lot of trouble after the last meeting because I forgot to hit record.
Oh, no.
Wrote me up.
It is 6:00 p.m. Everybody's waiting patiently for this meeting to start, so we will call it to order. Call the roll, please.
Berkland,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Next item is to approve the immediate agenda, but before we do that, I need to let everybody know that we have one additional item under new business for the agenda. You have the handout in front of you. That item is to review land acquisition appraisals that we need to take care of for the Perry Municipal Airport. That'll be, again, that'll be under new business. Need a motion to approve our agenda?
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
That's under.
old business.
Old business?
Old
I'm
business.
sorry, old business. Any discussion of the agenda? If not, call the roll, please.
Berkland,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
McCauley. Oh my gosh, I did it. I told myself. Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
old habits.
All right. Consent agenda. Tonight for the consent agenda, we have minutes of the December 20th, 2021 regular city council, payments for contract services, including Bolton and Mink, wayfinding signage and master plan in the amount of $4,155. Bolton and Mink comprehensive plan update, $1,353, for a grand total of $5,508. We also have claims, registers, and financials in the amount of $227,939.94. We have no licenses or permits tonight. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Walling. Yes. Klein.
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to city administrative report.
All right. We'll go into it in more detail, but the new old business agenda item just came in this morning. Like I emailed out, but I don't know if everybody saw it right away, but to help keep the timeline going, because there is a 10-day waiting period, and Matt will explain all this way better later, but it was important that we either get it on this agenda or have a special meeting on probably Wednesday. So we were able to get it on this agenda with the mayor's blessing. So more on that later. The other big news item is we do have a new employee here tonight, Daniel Van Holland. And if Daniel wants to come up, I've prepped him that he gets to introduce himself. But he is our new Community and Economic Development Director, which he's also renamed the position New Mike. New Mike.
I did not rename that. That has been how it's been referred to since I walked in. So
That may have been me.
might have been fun. Anyway, as I said, my name is Daniel Van Holland. I'm coming here from Spearfish, South Dakota, where I'd worked as a city planner and code enforcement officer previously. I've been involved with development, redevelopment, tax increment financing. You know, as a city planner, I was essentially in charge of creating the code enforcement position while I was there. So Sven decided I would be the hire here. So I moved back. I'm originally from Iowa, so I'm happy to come back. I'll keep that brief and happy to be here.
Welcome.
Happy to
Thank
have
you.
you on board.
Thanks.
We're glad that you had such great weather to move into. So.
Yeah.
But seriously, welcome to the job and welcome to Perry.
Thanks so much.
Okay, Sven, anything else?
That's it for me.
Any questions? for Sven?
Update on solar.
Yeah, I think it's been kind of quiet the last week or two with the holidays. I think a couple of facilities are up and going, and I had a missed call from Terry with Redline Renewables today, so I need to get a call back to him tomorrow and get an update on where we stand on everything. But I think construction wise, it's all up. It's just a matter of pulling wires into buildings and getting them hooked in and the meters hooked up. So.
I was impressed with this. I wanted everybody else to get in on that.
There you go.
Sure changed the look of that walking path at the wreck.
Yeah. Yep. And hopefully phase 2 of that will be some decorative lighting or artwork on that to kind of make it more of a destination point, not only within Perry and Weiss Park, but regionally along the trail. I think it'll be a nice balance to the High Trestle Trail once we get something permanently done there. So,
Like gonna be blue lights like the High Trestle.
well, I don't know if we want to copy it that much, but
That's correct.
I've had a couple conversations with Jennifer Drinkwater. She's an artist. She did the mural right behind City Hall, but she gave me a name or two to reach out to talk about possibly doing some artwork, hoping to have that art project be very heavily community minded and community involved to get maybe some kids from the elementary school involved with that design process, but also the whole community so that it's truly representative of the community. But hopefully more on all of that to come.
Okay. Anything else for Spade? If not, we'll move on to mayor council comments. I don't really have a whole lot. Just wanted to welcome Kurt Height to the council. As you all are aware, Kurt was took his oath of office at our last meeting, and Doc McCauley left us, even though his name was still called tonight. But, welcome, Kurt, and we're all here to work with you to help you. Please feel free to contact any of us anytime that we can help you out, or if you have any questions or anything.
I will answer some calls.
My name's my name and number are in the phone book, so, all right. All right. I think winter has officially arrived. I know I've seen the street crews out working, and welcome to winter. I think that's all I have. Council?
It's only 80 days till spring now.
And the days are getting longer every day.
Close.
And how many days till,
Until when?
how many days till burn?
February 5th. So what is that? Less than a month.
Any other council
Or no,
comments?
little over a month.
Is there another council comments? We'll move on to open forum. Open forum is open now. Speakers, as always, are asked to step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak on any topic that might be on the agenda or not on the agenda. So anybody here for open forum tonight?
Raymond Knapp, 414 Second Street, here in Perry. I was doing some thinking this morning as I was trying to wake up. You know, these long nights are just hard to get woke up from. And I had a question come to mind about the fireworks. I was wondering, and I know I may not be able to get answers back, but has the council banned the sale of fireworks in the city limits? Okay, that's an interesting point. If that is the case, I've got a couple of questions I want to ask. Banning fireworks in the city will cut the profits severely for all of the vendors that are coming in and selling fireworks. So the taxes that you would have been receiving the past several years will be less coming to, and this is due to your actions. I also, and I don't know how to say this properly, but most of the people in this town, if they see that fireworks are being sold in the city limits, they're going to assume, because they are not, a lot of them are not informed, which I understand, that they're going to be able to let the fireworks off. So in some ways, you've got a real dichotomy that you're working with here. And so with some of these thoughts, I'm hoping that you reconsider and vote negative tonight on the fireworks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for open forum? Here or on Zoom, anybody for open forum? If not, we'll move on to old business. First item under old business, approval of pay application number 7 for the wastewater treatment facility improvements. Pay application number 7 in the amount of $1,133,262.28 to Woodruff Construction for the construction of the wastewater treatment facility improvements. To date, total payments requested by the contractor are 14.1% of the total amount of work to be completed under the contract. All documents have been reviewed and signed off by the engineer and are recommended for approval. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we approve the pay application number 7 for the wastewater treatment facility improvements.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
We got any concrete poured yet, Matt?
Yes, what concrete? Well, 3 days before Thanksgiving, they
They had,
poured a clarifier base, 30 loads of concrete. Some of the loads come from Grimes, some from Adel, and they came in at regular times. I mean, they knew exactly what load, the truck number was coming in, who the driver was, what time he'd be there. I mean, it was just staggered so perfectly that, you know, the pumper never really ran out of concrete.
that's right.
I think I saw you out there, guys both out there looking around, but also, well, that second day they poured, that second pad they poured, there was about 30 guys on hand out there. Some were in different pits tying rebar to get ready for the next pour. Some were in another pit making walls with rebar so they could put the forms up later. Like I say, there was 30 some people out there working. 3 days before Thanksgiving, or excuse me, Christmas. You know, I really don't have much else. I guess. I mean, an 85-foot clarifier, 30 loads of concrete. That's quite took all day to do.
Set up well.
Yeah, set up well. I mean, they vibrated everything in. They screeded it with a power screed. They covered it up at night with blankets. You know, so I don't know what temperature needs to be, but you know, I'm not an expert. But I'm sure they did the right thing.
We sure had some good weather over Christmas to do it.
Yeah. I mean, deep freeze. Today was a heat wave.
Crazy.
Deep freezes. But I think they're going to continue to pour. Plus, they can, if they have to, they can run a heater underneath those blankets. Cures problem.
Is that, at this point, the entire site is actually disturbed for any major excavations at this point. So keep your fingers crossed that means anything else that's unexpected we have found. So, but a lot of dirt's been moved out. You probably noticed that paper press is a little bigger than the ones I've seen in the past. They put a lot of steel down the last 2 weeks. They put a lot of concrete down. They actually have every bit of advantage of it. So, it was good.
Anything else on the wastewater treatment facility? Questions or discussion? Thank you, gentlemen. If there's no other discussion, call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Height,
Yes.
Shot,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item under old business. Resolution approving the purchase of stream mitigation bank credits. As part of the airport runway extension project, it is necessary to mitigate unavoidable adverse effects to streams and wetlands as stated in the airport's supplemental environmental assessment dated August of 2020. This resolution authorizes City Administrator Sven Peterson to execute the documents needed to acquire 3.702.4 mitigation banking credits at a cost of $277,680 from the Corky Stream Mitigation Bank, as required by the Army Corps of Engineers to apply for the necessary 404 permit. This required work will be 100% funded by the FAA. A copy of the full supplemental environmental assessment is available for review at City Hall. Motion, please.
Make a motion to approve resolution approving the purchase of stream mitigation bank credits.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
I'm gonna pretend I'm the new guy here. Can you explain that to me? We're buying credits because we're not gonna be able to take care of the environment as well as we can? That's,
Yeah,
bring me up to date.
a little bit. I even have the map if it's. So on the south side of the runway, there's some, actually, do you want to talk while I pull this up? Sure, sorry.
So just to kind of bring you up to speed on what's occurring out at the Perry Airport. Approximately 10 years ago, we started the process of looking at potential reconstruction or extension of the existing runway. Determined it was not feasible in the existing location due to the highway and constraints off the south end. So the decision was made by both the city and the FAA at the time to shift 400 feet to the southwest, construct a new runway. At the time, it was granted to build a 4,000-foot runway, with knowing that the need for the airport is actually about 5,500 feet of runway. 500 feet was not granted for construction right away because of lack of funds available from the FAA. As COVID funds and all these other things have come about, the city has been successful in securing funding from the FAA to go forward with building the additional 1,500 feet of runway. It is 100% funded by the FAA for the COVID relief funds that we're using, stimulus cash essentially. But as part of the construction of the alignment and the extension, we come over the top of a designated stream bank in the eyes of the Army Corps of Engineers and the DNR. We are actually going to be burying it. We'll put a pipe underneath to convey the water through, but because we are disturbing it, we're required by the Corps to mitigate it. So we buy into a bank somewhere else that is a preserved stream bank that will be, kept in for probably, I think it's fun to say it's 35 years. I may be wrong on that, but protected for a set period of time to make up for the areas that we're disturbing. It's similar to when you disturb a wetlands area. We work with the Army Corps of Engineers and DNR to determine a ratio. So if we disturb a wetland area, depending on what type of wetland area it is, you then go buy credits into another wetland area that help preserve wetlands in another spot of the state. We actually will be discussing here in the future wetlands on this. They're requiring us to go 1-to-1, which is pretty favorable for the city for us. But they're very specific in what we have to have for a wetland. So we're working through that with Dallas County, who's the owner of the wetland credits. The stream bank is not quite as critical. So we were able to kind of price shop and figure out where the most effective place is to use the money to purchase that. And that's what we're done. And that's what the agreement is on here tonight.
And yeah, so on the screen is a map showing the affected wetland area. It's at the south end of the runway, and the extension of the runway will be going right through it. So like Matt said, we're working with Dallas County right now on the wetland credit portion. This is just the stream bank. one of the many moving parts of the airport project.
Other discussion, questions?
Point to make, and I don't know that it's important or not. You misspoke on the number, 3,702.4 medication credits.
Other discussion? If there's no other discussion, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Okay, now our additional item under old business, which is the review of the proposal for land acquisition. Because it's just information, I don't think we need a motion or approval because we're not really
Yeah.
taking any action tonight.
Yeah, we need action of review and approval of the appraisals.
Of the appraisals?
Yep, which Bolton Mink put together a memo that kind of is an executive summary. I think, was it 58 pages was one of the appraisals? So we cut through the fluff and just got to the numbers. So these are the numbers that will be presented to the property owners.
I need a motion to get it on the agenda.
Yeah, so
Okay.
what we'll need is a motion approving a resolution accepting the land acquisition appraisals for the 1,500
Okay, I need a
foot
motion to
extension.
accept the land acquisition appraisals resolution.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
So as we've talked about before, it's very unorthodox on how we're handling things at the airport right now because of the funding source and the compressed time constraint we have on getting all these moving parts. You know, typically you would have wetlands and stream bank mitigation things going on after you would have land acquisition done. What we are doing as part of this process is we have, and I think you have the map here in front of you. Point to it a little bit here, so. That's the parcel that's being acquired. The parcel that shows up in kind of yellow, green right here, and then this purple. Three parcels that we're talking about, easement parcels. If you recall from previous acquisition, what we do, that's part of the federal process. You do an appraisal, a review appraisal, they're independent of each other. Those get approved by the FAA concurrently with city council approving those. The step after this, essentially what you're authorizing tonight is saying that, yes, we approve the process, we approve what information has come back. The next step from this, as long as we have concurrence in the FAA, is we begin a negotiation with the property owners. So they appraisals will be sent to the property owners after council takes action this evening, if they're approved. The property owners then get a 10-day grace period for their review ahead of starting negotiations. A little bit unusual that we would modify or amend an agenda to add these tonight. The only reason we really looked at that was because of the time constraint and how quickly we need to turn the acquisition around. We've had pretty good ongoing conversations, discussions already with the property owners. So I don't think there's going to be anything here that's a shock to them. Like I say, our next step will be provide them the same appraisals that you guys are looking at, that the FAA is looking at. So everyone will kind of have it all at the same time. And then we will begin negotiations with them. Once an amenable agreement is reached, the next step is we'll get the FAA to say, yes, this is okay. Once we have their agreement, we'll bring that back to you for approval of a purchase agreement with those entities. So really the only parcel that we are purchasing tonight is the leg piece that's there in red. We'll be acquiring that and fee. Everything else will be easement. Again, it's an unusual process because usually this would stretch out a little bit and we would, this would usually take 6 months and we're looking to do it in 2 to 3. So,
With this easement, they can still farm that. They just can't put any high equipment on.
correct. Basically, yeah, it's a navigation easement. Basically, all it says is you can't go build a huge silo on it. You're not going to build a large building on it. You can't put anything that protrudes into the approach surfaces.
Same
of the
restrictions
airport.
that we have when we purchase some other parcels,
Yep,
correct?
it's exactly what we did on the opposite end,
Okay.
on the north end of the runway. It's been probably, I think, 2 years ago now when we did that process, so. This doesn't by any means, it doesn't bind us to anything tonight. It's the next step that allows us to begin negotiation. Again, we will have to have concurrence from the FAA to say, yes, we agree, the appraisal looks good. Go forward with your negotiations with property owners. We use an independent group. This is prepared by A&R Land Services out of Ames. They also will do the negotiations with the property owners.
Other questions, discussion?
Thank you, Matt.
Before we will, just clarify one more time for transparency and so everybody's on the proverbial right page, what we're actually approving tonight then.
So tonight, we're only approving the appraisal and then the review appraisal or the secondary appraisal so that they can go talk with the landowners. The landowners can look at these numbers and the appraisals. And then FAA will give concurrence. And then we'll move into the acquisition process. So this is more of just a, yeah, the appraisals looks good. Let's move to the next step. So we will be going through the actual acquisition process. This is just kind of one of the check marks along the way.
Okay. With that information, anybody have any questions before we vote? Okay, if not, call the roll, please.
Walling. Yes. Berkland.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. New business. Excuse me. First item under new business is resolution making council appointments for the Central Iowa Regional Transportation Planning Alliance. The city of Perry, as a member of the Central Iowa Regional Transportation Planning Alliance, is required to appoint a representative to serve on its Transportation Policy Committee and its Transportation Technical Committee. For 2022, it is recommended to reappoint Josh Webker as the city of Perry's representative and to reappoint Sven Peterson and Matt Ferrier as alternates for said committees. Need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution making council appointments for the Central Iowa Regional Transportation Planning Alliance.
I'll second that.
Discussion? If there's no discussion, call the roll, please.
Klein.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Schott.
Yes.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Next item under old business, new business rather. Council approval of fixing a time and place for a nuisance abatement hearing. Mr. Sean Brooks on December 29, 2021, placed a request with the city clerk to have a hearing before the city council in regard to a notice to abate nuisance. Mr. Brooks received at his property located at 2406 Otley Street on December 23rd, 2021. In accordance with city ordinance 50.13, council is to fix the time and place of such hearing. City staff would recommend holding the hearing during the January 18th, 2022 regular council meeting. Need a motion, please?
I move that we fix the time and place for the nuisance abatement.
I'll second.
Again, we're just approving the hearing tonight. Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Next item, ordinances. Third reading, ordinances amending the code of ordinance chapter 125 fireworks. After much deliberation by council on the topic of fireworks, it was directed that staff draft a new ordinance to include prohibiting the use of consumer fireworks from the city limits. This ordinance would also provide updated language for permitting display fireworks for better clarity. Third reading. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass ordinance. amending the code of ordinance, chapter 125 fireworks.
I'll second.
Discussion?
This doesn't, so we're gonna ban them from the city.
The shooting of them.
The shooting of them.
We'll still, the vendors will still be able to sell them in the city, but we're banning the shooting of fireworks with the city limits.
And we all realize that people are still gonna fire them off in town. I'm gonna be honest.
You're exactly right.
For sure.
People are still gonna, so, and I'm not just. And so our peace officers are not gonna be able to just run these folks down. All of these people, they track them, right? They would have to get out and run some people down. So it's, almost feel like it's an unenforceable ordinance. Am I making sense? Because you would have to have an officer.
It was
every-
unenforceable for the 2 months before and the month after also.
No, I agree.
So they were in favor of not having.
Chief Vaughn is here and
So,
he recognizes the issues, I believe.
yeah, another part of this conversation, kind of outside of just passing the ordinance, is the budget impacts and what budget decisions we would need to make sure that we're able to, I don't know if be more proactive, because I feel like we have been very proactive with our public information campaigns. Chief Vaughn takes flyers to every fireworks tent every year, and they're supposed to hand them out with every sale. So everybody that's buying fireworks within the city limits should be getting the rules. Susie does a phenomenal job with social media, getting out with email, text messages, things like that. And then also our media partners as well. But also looking at if we need to add additional part-time officers or offer overtime around the holiday. But, in my conversations with city managers around the state and around the metro, it's just horrid, no matter if you completely ban them or allow them for a certain number of days or all of the days that the state allows. There's always before hours and after hours discharge and just reckless use. So I think we'll see more and more cities going the route of banning fireworks probably in this next year.
There's already quite a few of the metro now that do
Yep.
ban them or have very limited days.
But I agree with you that it's ridiculous to sell fireworks and stop the use of them. It's just absolutely impossible to enforce. However, the state of Iowa has put us into this predicament with the laws that are on the books. It's just to make my point and make it clear, it's sort of like allowing us to go buy liquor, but not to drink it. That's exactly what we're doing here, is that same sort of a stupid approach. But because of the laws and the rules of the state of Iowa, we don't have any choice.
It seems like there should be something in the middle. You know what I mean? Because allowing it isn't gonna, obviously that's gonna create issues. Banning it isn't gonna stop the issues. So this isn't solving a problem. Does that make sense?
You're exactly right.
It doesn't solve
It, it may slow our issues down though.
Right, no, I understand. I'm
That's
just.
the big
ultimately, it doesn't
thing.
solve the problem.
Chief, did you have something you want to share with us?
I would just agree. We've tried the middle. We've tried to allow it for a day. But people don't obey that. We try to restrict it to, people's backyards or their homes, but they light them off in the street and they light them off in our parks. They light them off in business parking lots where numerous people are around, causing damage and stuff. So I think we're to this point. I think you're right, but we still have restrictions on whether it's fireworks the state allows us to sell or alcohol. There's still rules that need to be followed when you're purchasing or using them or whatever. And yeah, unfortunately, this is where we are.
So if I'm a police officer, which we're thankful I'm not. And And I'm in my cruiser and there's some fireworks going off as well. What would the ordinance expect me as a police officer? What would be the expectation of the police officer to do when they see or hear that?
On the 3rd, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Like now?
July 4th, when?
Yep, they should stop, try to figure out where those fireworks came from. If they can figure out what property those fireworks came from, they can issue a municipal infraction to the homeowner or the person in control or in charge of that property and cite them for allowing or knowingly allowing use on that property.
I would say.
We can
that-
also,
Sorry, that's a
Nope.
good point. And that's something that we did change to where the first couple of years, our ordinance was only really able to be enforced with the person that set them off. But we did change it to that we're now able to cite the property that they came from. So whoever either owns or is in control, if it's a rental, the renter would get the ticket. So if, you come to a house and you know that fireworks came from the front yard of the corner of 5th and Warford, then 6th and Warford, sorry. But, Eric and all of his kids and friends ran into the house, you would be able to still write the property owner a ticket. So that's one thing that is, I think, a step in the right direction on the enforcement side.
Okay, Sven, you really make me nervous. You continually say the property owner,
Or the person.
and that's not
Yeah.
what you mean. I don't
Correct.
think.
Or the person in control of the property or fireworks at that time.
I'm assuming that it's a property
Responsible.
owner and it's a renter setting them off, but you're not gonna give me a ticket.
Right.
So if somebody lights off fireworks in my front yard, I'm sleeping. I'm not getting.
not unless know they're allowing or permitted. If you're having a party in the back, your backyard and everybody's lighting up fireworks and you're like, hey, I didn't fire because my kids are doing it or my friends are doing it. Well, it's your property. You're getting the citation. It's similar. We do that in municipal infractions. In those cases, we could cite, and we do cite landowners or, we all have rules with everything. We have cars that go 150 miles an hour, but our speed limit's 65 or 70, 55. People need to follow rules, whatever they set, whether it's an outright ban or a temporary usage on a day or something, and people are not following those rules. And I guess it's going to be up to us to enforce those, and we do. We've tried to notify people.
You and I both know they don't listen.
Well, they don't listen. We post signs. They're not going to listen either way. So unfortunately,
It's a hopeless cause. It just is.
As long as
Well,
they're sold in town, they're
then,
gonna go out in town.
then traffic enforcement is a hopeless cause.
But I mean,
It's
you
rules.
have 2 or 3 people
We need to
a day
get-
driving 60 miles an hour and 25 mile an hour zone. But with this, you're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people setting off fireworks in a manner that is not.
And we're gonna have to do our part to inform the public of what the rules are, whatever that may be,
Yeah,
and whatever you
trust
guys
me, I know
decide.
you'll try.
Yep,
I'm not
Yeah.
taking one thing away.
it's gonna be more than me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be you guys. It's gonna be city.
And of course, anybody has any input, they're welcome
Yeah.
to share it with their legislator.
Yeah.
It's the legislature that put this in place.
Yeah.
And also as an aside, I did reach out to the Iowa League of Cities to see if they could put out a survey, just kind of seeing what cities' best practices are for educating the public on their fireworks ordinances and then enforcing their fireworks ordinances. So hopefully they're going to be able to put something together and get that out to help spur that conversation and share some ideas that have been working in other communities. So we'll share that as it comes out.
And on a positive note, I guess, if this third reading passes tonight, we've done our due diligence to get it done in plenty of time prior to the 4th of July, so people can know what the law is, educate themselves and do what they need to do. Any other discussion before we take our vote?
Yeah.
If not, call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Height,
No.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
No.
Klein.
Yes.
It passed 3-2. Thank you. Having no other business before us tonight, we stand adjourned at 6:19 PM. Have a good evening.